Assalamu alaikum everybody. Today's video is entitled Let's Talk About My Hijab. The reason for this is, first of all, in one of my videos I've already given you a disclaimer that I am not a full-time hijabi. I am a full-time Muslim, of course, but not a full-time hijabi. I have my own reasons for this. I'm going to discuss my reasons and some of the reasons that Islam has and different requirements that different people feel Islam has. Some Muslims are practicing Muslims, not sliding Muslims that don't believe at all in wearing hijab. Some people believe in wearing, of course, this. You have countries that believe in this, or at least covering an abaya covering your body. And then you have countries that just cover their hair. And I've heard of this, a lot of this terrible thing that they've got going on, that basically they say a non-Arab Muslim woman almost always has to wear a hijab to gain legitimacy. Don't react too quickly to that, not because they have to, but because it's a tendency of women from Muslim countries, or men and women, to look at you and say you're not really one of us. And it sometimes feels like, to us converts especially, that we don't become legitimate as Muslims in their eyes and without it. So even if we don't believe in our heart to wear this, sometimes we do. And I believe this should come from the heart, which is part of my own reasoning for not wearing it. I have times that I will always wear it. I would never pray without hijab. There's always countries and places I feel like it's necessary to wear it. And I wear it for these videos out of respect for those of you who do feel that it would be inappropriate. And plus, I love my scarves. I have a collection of probably 20 to 30 scarves that I've collected, and I wear them so seldom. I love getting dressed up for these videos. So, now you know my dirty little vanity secret. So, let me start with the hijab verse, is what it's called, people refer to in the Quran. The hijab verse, it's 24-31, and tell the believing women to lower their gaze and protect their private parts, and not to show off their adornment, except for only that which is apparent, and to draw their veils all over, and not to reveal their adornments except to their husbands, their fathers, their husbands' fathers, their sons, their husbands' sons, their brothers, or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons, or their women, or their slaves, which obviously not slaves, or old male servants, small children who have no sense of shame, and so on and so forth. So the point of the verse is, this is the English translation. So I looked up a lot. I've seen some English translations that mention nothing about this. As a matter of fact, English translations, I think one of the main reasons that the Quran should be read in Arabic is because I actually read a book, really interesting book by an author, Reza Aslan, who has told me that the written Arabic at the time was in the beginning stages, and so sometimes one word can have several different meanings depending on context. So, like, for instance, you get I think it's like a 1920 version of an American convert wrote, or English convert maybe, wrote, that was a English translation that specifically says men should hit their women. And so you hear all the time when people are trying to pose you, they say that the Quran says men should hit their women. One English author translated one verse, which I found out from the same author that I'm talking about, could mean anything. It could mean don't sleep with them. And in that case, it's referring to, if you think your wife is having an adulterous affair, kick her out of her bedroom. And so this, it's kind of funny that that the Quran should be read in Arabic. It changes the meaning so much in English, you have to guess at meanings. So, how that relates to our hijab verse. Okay, so I was looking up how come when I have read, the one I just read to you is not the same one that I've read. The one I have read talks about believing women covering their bosoms. Well, I looked into it, and actually in the Arabic, it says a kuma, which is a headgear, must cover your bosom. So when people read this, they would say, well, if your headgear has to cover your bosom, that would imply that it's on your head first. So if your scarf, it's a head scarf, why would it not cover your head? And that's in the Quran. That's not just Hadith, that's Quran that says that. Okay, so let's go from there. A question that I don't want to get into because I don't want to argue at this point is I sometimes, just like constitutions of countries are written, they're written to be elastic because times change. Okay, surely Allah knew that times would change, dress styles would change, so intentionally he didn't put what to cover in this verse. And there's another verse too, but it's referring specifically to the wives of Muhammad, peace be upon him. So that one I'm not even going to get into because I think this is the one. So cover your bosoms. Okay. Why wouldn't it say, the Quran's very, very specific. Why wouldn't it say cover your head, cover your face? In some countries they say cover your face, right? Why wouldn't it say those things specifically? Here is my personal reason why. I mean, I believe, of course, I'm not a scholar. So this is my disclaimer to you. I am not a Muslim scholar. I am not the ulama. I'm not an imam. I am not somebody who can advise you. I'm telling you my reason. Okay, my reason is that I believe in this elasticity, that because Allah knows all things and knew how things would be and that styles would change, he just wants you to dress modestly. Okay. Also, in several versions of the Quran I've read, there is a dress code for men too, and one of them states for men covering, like below their waist to the knees, that kind of thing. But again, we have translation issues, which really makes things hard. It's when you have the living Word of God, it's more complicated than the Bible is to translate. So when people translate the Bible, they're translating words of men that are describing the events. In the case of the Quran, it's the living Word of God, or depending on what your sect of Islam is, what you believe, it's actually God itself. And that is off track from the hijab talk, but that's why it's unchangeable. So, in its own way, it is ever-changing. It's elastic. It's saying, cover yourself, be modest, okay? But it's not telling you exactly what to cover because that's going to change, because they know this is 1400 years ago in Arabia, and that's not the same as everywhere in the country and everywhere in the world. I feel like I can be perfectly modest without putting a head covering on. And also, to that end, in a Western country, especially right now, a hijab draws more attention to your sexuality, draws more attention to you as a woman. Hey, I am a woman. And if the point is to be modest and not draw attention to your sexuality, I think it's drawing more attention to it in its own way. So I think it's counterproductive. So that's me. And along with that are my own reservations about my safety and a job and things. So those are worldly concerns, of course. If you believe this is what you should be wearing, and your job does not allow you to wear this, then you shouldn't work there. If you are like me and you don't know where you stand, that's different. That's not being a hypocrite, right? That's finding your own way. And everybody has to find their own way. Up until, I think it's been less than 200 years, that was the way of Islam, is scholarship and talking and different schools of belief, and that was okay and that was fine. And it should still be, because that's what Islam is about. It's about scholarship. And so here's my hijab. Sometimes I might do these videos and I might just wear a hat. Who knows, I might go crazy and not wear anything. I don't think so. But I'm just warning you in advance. So, let me see what else I want to tell you about. Okay, so why would you wear a hijab if you believe this verse is elastic, if you believe this verse is changeable? And I will tell you one thing I like about wearing the hijab. I don't wear, like I said, I don't wear it everywhere, but why I like to wear it. Okay, first of all, I feel safe and comfortable. Sometimes it's just like, you're on a train and there's all these people and just you feel, ish. And sometimes it's almost your safety net. It's like, here I am. This is my beliefs. This is who I am. I am a Muslim. This is my protection. I know that sounds cheesy, so you don't have to believe the same as me. This is just what I feel. Okay, another reason that people wear it that I've seen is it's the custom. It's, as Muslims, it says, hey, look at me, I'm a Muslim. And I know, don't get all, I know that there is countries that wear them, like India. People often wear them who aren't Muslim. I know some sects of Judaism also wear head covering. I lived in a heavily Jewish neighborhood, and the Jewish women in that neighborhood dress identical to Muslims. Even some of them, even the strictest Muslim and the strictest Orthodox Jew, same, same look. So it's not just Muslims, but okay. So sometimes you want to wear this. It's a pride. It's, hey, look at me. I'm a Muslim. I'm proud of myself for being a Muslim. I'm happy. I stand for this. This is what this says. I stand for this. I stand for Islam. So yeah, that is a good reason. That is a beautiful reason to wear it. Sometimes you wear it because day to day you want it as a reminder. What do I believe? Remind me why I don't want to look like a girl in a music video shaking my booty and my stuff hanging out, and you want to separate yourself from that. You want to say, I remember, just as like our 5 prayers a day are a 5 times a day reminder of who we are and who Allah is. Also, the same goes for this hijab. It's a daily reminder, hourly reminder. If you wear a hijab, I belong to Allah. I do not belong to this world. Okay, my hair does not matter. Along that lines, makeup. I know some Muslims also are very against makeup, which if you believe that you should be wearing this scarf, then I don't know if you should be wearing this makeup, because it's the same thing. It's sexualizing yourself, right? So I think that is a complicated issue that you need to decide for yourself. You can't just open up a web page and look, because there's so many schools, and just like Christianity or atheists or any other system of beliefs out there, the most radical believers are those people posting online. So the first thing you're going to find is, why would you want this earthly life? I see all the time, like if you love the burqa, like if you love, or what's wrong with this picture? There's a picture of 3 women, I see it all the time, in the solid black, full face niqab, and one of them is wearing a belt, and it's, look at her type post saying what's wrong with this? She's not correct. Her hijab is not correct. And also, because I've just said it, I might want to say, hijab does not mean headscarf. Hijab means in your clothing, in your actions, protecting your modesty. This is for men and women. So when you say hijab, you are not referring to a piece of headgear. You are referring to your personal modesty. So it doesn't mean what we tend to think as Americans, which is when somebody says hijab, we think it's this, and it's not. This is a headscarf. If it's long like this and covering your bosom, it is a abaya. Full length is a burqa or niqab. So hijab is a general word. And I should say that because sometimes people, myself included, will use that word not meaning a scarf. I would mention along the lines of why would you wear this, I visited Thailand last year and was interested to see that in South Thailand, which is a heavily Muslim area, the women often wore a headscarf with shorts and a short sleeve shirt. It's just it's fine. Everybody has a different way of expressing their Islam. Everybody has their own thing. And I know, and you're going to hear it over and over, that as Muslims we're supposed to correct each other. But I would also like to say, as Muslims, we're supposed to think about things, and we're supposed to and disagreeing made us stronger at some point, not weaker. And that's a problem right now, I think, in the world, period, is that people are afraid if somebody has a different opinion than you, then they don't deserve that opinion. Not with your radicals of every religion, every political sphere, everything. You know, I see it different. That's an okay thing. Once upon a time, not just in the Muslim world, but even places like Cordoba in Spain, it used to be a thing where Christians and Muslims and Jews had they studied together, they learned together, they translated each other's documents, they translated, you know, the Torah, the Bible, the Quran. They transferred these to different languages. The first person to transfer, I think, which is that I think it's Homer. See, I don't have notes in front of me for this, but the first person to translate, I think it was Homer, but it was definitely several of the Greek classics into English and other languages was actually Muslims at this time period. And like I said, I don't have that in front of me, so it might be a little off. Don't judge. I'm just making the point that that disagreement, that scholarly disagreement, is healthy and good, and just like some people in some countries feel we're being oppressed for if we wear this, I would say in some countries you're being oppressed by being pushed into a view that unless you're showing more of yourself, you are being forced to be sexualized is also not being free. Okay, if you've been taught that the only way that you can be accepted as a person is if you're wearing makeup or you're a little low cut and or you're wearing a bikini, then same thing. Don't talk to me for my body. Don't talk to me whether or not I'm wearing this. Talk to me as a human being. Talk to me because you want to hear what I have to say, and I want to hear what you have to say. And that's why sometimes this hijab can be a wonderful thing, because I'm sitting here wearing this of my own free will, saying I am a woman, I want this, I want to keep this extra layer of modesty around myself, okay? And I want you to see me for me. I want you to see my soul. I want you to see my words, my brains. I am who I am regardless if I have no face at all, if I have no hair at all. That's not your problem, because that hair, that face, that beauty is my worldly beauty, is for me, for my family. If it's even, I've heard like, oh, you should do this to, it'll help improve your chances of getting this job, or people will like you better. Well, don't want those people then. I don't want that job. If you hired me because I look more presentable, because I dress skimpier or wear makeup, do I really want to work for you? I want you to like me for who I am, not who I look like I am. So I'm just putting that out there. But again, I say this as a feminist woman. The hijab is my right to wear or not to wear. And the Quran does say protect your modesty. Does it say cover everything but your face and your hands and your feet like some people maintain? I am not a scholar. I don't believe so in my personal beliefs, but that is up to you. That's the cool thing about being a woman, is you have the right to decide what you believe. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to choose their way of believing. So, now that I've probably committed blasphemy, but not shirk, which is a big difference thing, because I believe in Islam. I believe in Muhammad is the messenger of God. And that's what I have to do to be a Muslim. And I do not associate anyone with Allah. He's one. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. That's it. The second you believe in your heart the shahada, you are a Muslim. Don't let anybody tell you different. With the scarf, without the scarf, as a non-Arab, I can be a non-Arab and not wear the scarf. And if you choose not to accept me, that is your your sin, and she'll have to answer for your intentions, not my intentions. We don't have to answer for ourselves. You won't go to heaven and say, I sinned because I let that girl wear no hijab. You know, it's not going to happen. So this is on you. It's up to you. It's your choice. So that's up with my hijab.